Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video. Today, we are going to be doing a new series on the channel. Now, I'm not sure how well this is going to go on my YouTube channel, but the way that this series is going to work is it's going to be called a road to victory, or I guess like it's like road to victory or draft to victory. We're probably going to call it like a draft to victory. Because essentially drafts are the only things on the weekdays that's really fun for me to do. So I feel like if I play drafts and I make content on it all the time, I would love to see if you guys enjoy this type of thing, right? Because I feel like with drafts, there's always different types of teams to be made, right? Like you do different types of hybrids and all that kind of stuff. So I want to see if people do end up enjoying these types of videos. If you guys want me to commentate over the gameplay rather than me answering questions from the chat, be sure to let me know. But if you guys prefer for me to answer questions from the comment section of YouTube or from my Twitch streams, be sure to let me know as well. So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of splitting the podcast, or a quote-unquote podcast, the videos from before, into two different videos. So it'll basically be 2 uploads every day, and they won't be very long uploads because it'll just be 1 draft in each video, right? It'll be like around 20 minutes long, 25 minutes long, something around that range, right? Or something around that region. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 separate videos. Again, I'm going to see how it works with the everyday upload, because playing 2 drafts isn't necessarily a hard thing for me to do. Like I can get the gameplay really quickly, and then I could just do the commentary over it. So if you guys do enjoy it, be sure to let me know. So the way that the format of this video and the next video is going to be, because I'm going to do both videos simultaneously, is I'm going to just answer the comments in the YouTube channel. But if you guys prefer for me to comment on the gameplay that I'm playing, the stuff that I'm doing in the game to open up the space, to defend, let me know, and I will be I'll do that instead for the next video. So we're going to start off with some questions here. First question is thoughts on Crespo or Kluivert. So Crespo and Kluivert, 2 interesting players. I'm actually going to bring up their stats here really quickly. So with Crespo, his card actually has a lot of potential. So I'm assuming that you're going to mean the Prime Crespo whenever that comes out. I don't think that's out yet. The Prime Crespo has a lot of potential to be a very, very good card in this game, because he's 6 foot tall, medium low work rates. His agility is 90 with 85 bounce, which is really nice to have that 6 foot. Acceleration 89, sprint speed 89, finishing 94, 92 composure. And he has a 4-star weak foot with 4-star skill move. So he has a lot of potential to be a very good player to use. My only downfall with the card that will be very noticeable with him is going to be his passing. Now, for some people, right, when they use strikers, they don't really think about the passing being a big deal. Like they'll say like how 72 passing or 85 passing doesn't make a difference. It does make a difference when it's in very like specific spaces, right? So if you're aiming at a certain angle and you want to pass it across here and you want to do like a curve kind of pass, that's when like those specific kind of passes come into play, where the curve, the short passing and the long passing stats really take into account, right? So with the passing with Crespo, there's going to be a lot of situations with your striker depending on the formation that you're going to use. So let's just say you use him as a lone striker in a 4-2-3-1. He might play very good there, but he could be poor, because laying off the ball to the sides in that formation is a very, very important thing, right? And because his passing is very poor, he could be very bad at that, sorry. But if he's in a 4-1-2-2 where all the passing is kind of like very congested and close together, maybe the passing wouldn't be as big of a deal, but you still will notice 57 long passing and 72 short passing. So that's the only thing that would honestly be a problem with the card when it comes out. Again, you can notice that right away before even getting the card, that he's going to be decent in the game, but he's just not going to play amazingly well because of the lack of passing. Kluivert, we'll check out Kluivert's card right now. And I'm assuming, again, that you're talking about the Prime version of his card. Kluivert, I personally wouldn't use. I've actually, I think I've used one version of his card already. I'm not sure which one it was that I got in the draft, and I didn't like it. Reason being is because when I play FIFA, I don't like players not having like really good agility and balance when they're attacking type players, right? Because what happens, right, is that when your agility and balance is very low and your height is like 6'2", like Kluivert is, it's very down to playstyle, right? So for me personally, I can't use him, but there's a lot of people that can use Kluivert and do absolute work with him because his shooting is very good, right? He has 92 shot power, 82 long shots. You give him a 100 card, it'll be even better. But it's the agility and balance, those small little intricate touches that someone like Kluivert won't really do that much. because he has 76 agility with 77 bounce. Even if you give him like a sniper card where you improve his shooting and you improve his dribbling, I feel like he'll feel very similar. So that's why, for me personally, I wouldn't really enjoy using Cliver, but I can see a lot of really good players using him, because if he's used properly, like you cross the ball a lot, you make him a target man type striker where no one can really get the ball off him because he's so strong and big, because he's 6'2", and his physical stature in game is like really big. So it would be really tough to get the ball off him. So that's what I would say to both players. Would they be worth the price you're paying for both? Probably not. But if you've ever been a fan of them in real life, like Crespo, we all know Crespo in real life. Cliver, I never really watched Cliver in real life. I watched Crespo quite a lot when I was younger, but Cliver I never really watched. So Crespo would be more like a nostalgic type thing, but at the same time, like, it's just his passing that's kind of poor. So he has a lot of potential to be a very good card. What else do we got here? What is the best style for playing in poor gameplay? I lost so many games that I know I'd win in gameplay were good. Any advice would be very helpful. Keep the good work. If you feel like your gameplay is very slow, like it feels very sluggish, the best way to do well in that gameplay is to play incredibly conservative, right? So basically, when you're attacking, you have to shield the ball a lot. You have to sometimes spam the A button. So for instance, if you're shielding, and you want to dribble, and it takes that little extra second of delay to take that dribble, and then you have to pass the ball, there's actually a mechanic in FIFA that some people don't actually use, and it's two different mechanics, right? So when you're defending and you want to catch up to an attacker, right, that they're running, if you spam B, and I tell this to people all the time, if you spam B, your player, depending on his aggression stat, will aggressively try to push forward towards getting the ball. A lot of the defenders actually do this. Players that are very good at doing it is like players like Valencia and stuff, right? They're very, very good at doing it, because when you have that aggression stat and you have pace, so we're gonna actually search up Valencia, because the thing about Valencia is that I don't even know what his aggression is, but in game he is an aggressive player. See, he has 83 aggression and 88 acceleration, 87 sprint speed. So it's a very noticeable thing. Aggression is more of a noticeable thing when you're trying to win back the ball and trying to win back the ball, essentially, right? And even when you're attacking, the aggressiveness to outbody someone to push forward, right? That's why Conte's team of the season card is so good, right? Because he has 99 aggression with 91 acceleration, 88 sprint speed. If Conte was like 5'10 or 5'11, this guy would be an absolute god. He already is very good, but the only problem with Conte is that his height could be a problem at times, but the 88 jumping definitely helps it out a lot. But he's super agile, moves left and right beautifully because he has 96 agility with 99 balance. It's an incredible card to use. Just the height factor, that would affect you a little bit, right? But yeah, when the gameplay is poor, you just have to play very conservative. You have to pass the ball really slowly. If the pass isn't coming off from you pressing the button once, you actually have to spam it like twice just to get that pass off, right? So you have to be very careful when your gameplay feels very slow and sluggish. I wouldn't necessarily call it skilled gameplay, but there are ways of winning in it. Pro players do it all the time when they get their top 100. So if you can do that, best of luck to you, man. It's just playing very conservative and trying to shield the ball a lot and passing the ball when you can. Long shots as well, man. Like, it's really hard to build up play and get into the box when the gameplay feels sluggish. So try to just build up the play in the midfield and then work your way up into a long shot position. Or if you get lucky, or not lucky, or if you can build up play and get inside the box and get that shot off. You may not want to try to do a driven shot, because driven shots when the gameplay feels sluggish isn't very ideal. It's better to just do regular shots because it's more consistent. I have a question for you, Inception or whatever. So you say handicap doesn't exist, and why do you bronze bench on the bronze players on the bench, or even make this vid? Whether bronze benching exists? Oh, so the only reason why I bronze bench, you guys are from like the YouTube channel, right? So I stream over on twitch.tv/inceptionxx, little plug in there. I actually bronze bench because of my chat, right? Like when I talk about the gameplay and stuff, like they always say, oh, it's because you're not bronze benching. So I only bronze bench because of the chat. So I don't always get asked like why I don't bronze bench, because the YouTube scene and the Twitch scene is a little bit different in that kind of sense, right? So I only bronze bench just because of my Twitch chat. I don't think it makes a difference on the gameplay, but again, just because of my Twitch chat. That's the only reason why I do it. Just not sure why you don't use Gold Mbappe over Jesus. Just saying. I don't like Mbappe in this game, man. And I actually know why I don't like him, because if I actually look at his stats, right? People always say that he's like the the overpowered one. But for me personally, man, I'm not a huge fan of his. Like, I just don't think that he plays that well for me. Although I think it's in this draft or the next video's draft where I actually use a 4-3-3 and he was playing as a right winger and he was playing okay. He actually played better as a right winger than Mane does. So that does say a lot. So I'm not saying he's a terrible card, but I think the version that I had for that card was actually his team of the group stage. So that could have made a difference too, right? His regular card, which is the 83 version of his card, has 76 balance and 78 agility. And I feel like that's the biggest reason why I don't like him. He has 87 finishing and 80 composure, which is great, but his shot power is 79, his positioning is 79. Like, he just didn't really offer much for me when I was using him as a striker. Although as a right winger in a 4-3-3, I did enjoy using him, and I don't know, I'm not sure if it's in this draft or the next one. Like I said, I was using him in a 4-3-3. It was the team of the group stage card, which I'm actually going to check right now because that's the highest rated version of his card, and they improve his agility and balance to 82 and 80, and they make his shot power 83 and his positioning 83. So this card actually played pretty well. His team of the group stage definitely played better than his rare gold, but his rare gold, man, I don't know what it is. I'm just not a fan of it. It just doesn't really play well for me. I'm not really sure exactly what works there. Bro, get Baby Del Piero. He's a game changer for sure. I'm usually picky with players, but I've tried a lot of cams, and he's been the one that stood out above the rest. Yeah, people suggest Baby Del Piero a lot because he seems like that small, quick type of player. But every time I look at his card, his 72 balance might annoy me. Like, it might. That's the type of thing where, like, if you buy the card, there is potential that the card could be bad for you just because of that one stat that he has. Although the 5'9" height could balance out the balance being 72 with agility also being 86, right? Because his finishing is really good. He has a 5-star weak foot with 88 acceleration, 88 sprint speed, 90 finishing with 88 composure. So he's a trying out type of card. I think he leans more towards the side of being like a really good player rather than being like a really bad player. That's the only thing that I see that bothers me, and the height, but I already know that his height is small, right? But his balance being 72 is the only thing that when I look at the card, it's like, oh, I don't know. But I think he would be really good in the team for sure. Draft videos would be dope, but not a RTG draft series because the game is dead and it's not worth starting from scratch. A draft series that focuses on different formations, playstyles, players, and you analyzing them would be cool to watch. Implement the way you review players in this game to players that you get from your drafts and compare them to the meta players and foot champs. Draft is dead. Draft is not dead. Draft is like the content for YouTube nowadays. Same old boring squad building, 4 games max, and crap rewards. The rewards aren't that great, but draft is the only thing that I feel like is interesting to the viewer, in my opinion, because I feel like you get to see me use a different squad and different players, and I feel like that idea isn't necessarily bad, where I can actually analyze the players that I'm using, because it would actually be really interesting to people. And I'm actually looking at the team right now, and for this team, I was using the 4-1-2-2, so I could talk about how this team played in game. So the way that I set up the squad that you guys saw was, I'm going to see how I actually finished it here. So I put Christensen in the middle as a CDM because he was the type of player that would give me the 7 chemistry, because when you put a center back in a CDM spot, he gets 6 or 7 chemistry depending if you get the manager as well. So I can get the chemistry in every single position, because in the striking lineup, I was using Leroy Sané, who was off of chemistry, but I wanted to have players on the pitch, because the way that the chemistry works for me sometimes is like, sometimes I have players who are on like 5 or 6 chemistry, but I'm okay with it because of the way that I put them in my squad, right? So the way that I set up in game, I'm pretty sure I might have shown sometime during this video, is I put Conte as a CDM, Dembele as the left center mid, Pogba as the right center mid. The cam, I know I substituted someone on. I'm actually gonna look at the bench right now. Oh no, the way that I actually started off this draft was I put Coutinho on instead of Sané, and Coutinho, the informed Coutinho, ended up being my cam. And I think this draft also had, I believe it was Di Maria is one. I don't think it was Di Maria though. I think I had Neymar was one player that I was using as a striker. So it was Neymar and Suarez that I was using as a striker. So I put Cam, Coutinho, and then Suarez and Neymar as a striker. I'll be completely honest with you guys. It didn't really work out in the squad. There was a huge balance issue with the team. Like, it didn't really move nicely around the pitch. Inform Vertonghen is not a good player at all. There's something about his pace that makes him very slow. I'm actually going to search it up right now just to see exactly what it is that I don't like about the card. Because here's the thing about these cards, that you can notice specific traits that they have that just make them very poor. So with Vertonghen, it's his pace that makes him poor, right? Because he has 55 balance with 62 agility, while also having only 70 acceleration with 67 sprint speed, right? So that's the reason why he moved left and right really slowly, right? He was not the type of player that I enjoyed using. Defensively, when the ball was coming at him or the player was right next to him, yeah, he had the physical capabilities and defensive capabilities to get the ball, but his pace was definitely noticeable when you wanted to move left and right with him. Like, he was just too slow to react to the situation. So the rest of the team that I was using, I'm actually looking at right now. I used the guy from Stoke City. I think he's Greek. I was using him on the left side. He's absolutely awful. He does not play good at all. Every time I came up against people who had like Lionel Messi or Ronaldo, they just completely destroyed him. He's just like a pylon on the pitch. Like, he doesn't really do anything. Rudiger is a very good player, very good center back in the game. Cheap option as well from Chelsea. So you got a lot of links to work with there. You can put Courtois. You can put in Germany, actually. German links is good too, because you could put a lot of people with Germany as well. So Rudiger is a very good player. Aurier is also a very good player as well. High work rates, decent pace, defending and physical stats, right? So I actually enjoyed using Aurier, and then I was using Conte as a CDM, and Conte, he's unbelievable because he's so fast. He moves around the pitch so quickly, right? He's just an absolute animal. So in regards to the team that I was using, that's how I kind of like switched it around in game. It worked out sometimes, but the way that the team moved around, and I think it was really down to work rates, because we got Dembele, who has medium work rates, we got Conte, who has medium-high work rates, and then we got Pogba with high-medium, and then the Cam Coutinho, I think, is high-medium. I'm actually going to see right now. Coutinho was awful too. His dribbling is so good, but he just got out-bodied every single time because he doesn't have the height nor the physical. Coutinho's the type of player, right, that he doesn't have good enough pace on the ball to make up for the lack of physical. Because, like, when a big guy gets next to him, he just reaches around him because he's so small. He's 5'7". Coutinho's high work rates, and I didn't know that. That's actually pretty good work rates to have. But it's just his pace is just a little bit slow. His acceleration is very good, so that's very nice to have. Again, the dribbling with him is very good because he's 93 agility, 93 balance, 89 acceleration. The acceleration when it comes to dribbling is more important than the sprint speed. But then the sprint speed, when you're kind of through, like if you're a Cam, right, and I do a through ball to you, acceleration-wise, he's amazing, but then he slows down, right, because he doesn't have that. He doesn't slow down. He maintains his speed, but he doesn't maintain his speed good enough against people who have like center backs that are like 75 sprint speed or something, because they react really nicely because they're huge, right, and they can just get the ball easily. So yeah, Coutinho as a Cam was okay. Suarez finishes everything. He just finishes everything and anything into the back of the net. And Neymar is just amazing to use, man. Neymar is really agile. He moves really quickly on the ball. I'm a huge fan of how fast he moves. I love, again, you guys know me, man. I love players that have that agility, that balance, that quickness on the ball to take those small little intricate touches. But again, the thing that's lacking with Neymar is the physical with him, right? His upgraded versions of his card are significantly better than his rare gold card, in my opinion. I absolutely love using his upgraded version, like his team in the group stage, his informs. Like his 95 card is so good, man. It just moves so quickly around the pitch. Absolutely love using him. Why Alessandrini and not Martial? So the reason why I started off Alessandrini in the team, he's talking about my Foot Champs team, is because I was using Alessandrini as a cam, and I wanted someone who was agile, quick on the ball, and can at least pass the ball, right? Martial isn't very great in the passing department, so I had to use someone like Alessandrini to do that. In game, if I was using a 4-2-3-1, yes, I would prefer to use Martial over Alessandrini on the left mid position, because Martial is more of a physical type dude, right? So the physical type player is always better to use on the left mid and right mid side, because the way that I set up my tactics, right, because people like to exploit the sides a lot, is to come back on defense with the left mid and right mid so I can block that general area, right? But with someone like Alessandrini, he did not play good as a left mid at all. He was always in a random position, right? Like if I was using him in a 4-2-3-1, I sometimes saw him in the middle of the pitch defending wise, and I just didn't really like that. It wasn't something that I was too into him doing all the time, right? Because if you're a left mid, I want you to be a left mid. The point of the player being in that position is to cover that area, right? I don't want you to pushed to another area that I don't want you to go to. And I was also not using freeform, because that tends to happen when you're using freeform. I was using organized, so it was really weird that he pushed into different positions. But I think it's down to like his positioning as an attacker, right? Like I think he works really well as a winger. Like he's meant to kind of play on the right side, like his actual position. But in game on the left mid side, I just wasn't a huge fan of his because he just didn't have any physical. Like him and Gabriel Jesus, when they're on the left and right mid side, they don't really defend that well because they're small and they lack in physical, right? In physical stats. So, but yeah. I started to watch your channel because of how good you explain all the details on players, formations, etc. It seems like that's what I like about your videos. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. See, so yeah, I think like me criticizing the game part, I'm not gonna do that anymore because you guys know exactly how I feel. I'm just gonna move on from it. I'm just gonna create good content on YouTube and just go from there, you know. But I'm glad that you like watching the videos, man. I do appreciate it, dude. Yeah, it's just the way my brain works. I'm not perfect in this game. I'm not like a beast at this game, but I think I can analyze certain things a little better to help you guys understand what is good and what is bad in FIFA, right? So that's what I would say. Next question we have here is a nice videos, man. Keep it up. What do you think about first informed Son? Is he better than Arsenal Aubameyang? Oh yeah, dude, a lot of players are better than Aubameyang's card. Here, the thing about Aubameyang's card, right, is that he's the type of player that you would use simply because of, like, you think that 96 pace, oh, he has 96 pace, he's amazing. He doesn't feel like 96 pace. He's not that fast in game. He has the acceleration and he has his sprint speed, but his agility and balance is so low and his physical presence in game is so low. Someone like Gareth Bale feels like Ronaldo, who has... Let's see what Ronaldo's card is, like his regular, because I know for a fact that Ronaldo's pace isn't as big. Ronaldo has 90 pace. Ronaldo 100% feels in-game, I guess in specific scenarios and stuff, he feels like he runs way faster than Aubameyang. The problem with Aubameyang's card, and I'll show you what it is right now, the problem with his card is that he is 6'2" with 77 agility and 70 balance. That is incredibly low for someone that tall because he will take forever to dribble with the ball, right? And that's exactly what he does. He takes forever on the ball. He just takes way too long. Even I was using him in a draft one time as a striker. I kept him on the pitch for fun because just for fun, right? It's draft, right? But dude, his agility and balance is what makes him such a terrible card. His finishing is great. I did notice that his finishing was awesome. His finishing being 88 and his 84 composure is really great because he also has good good shot power as well with 81 and good 89 positioning, right? But he's just not a good card. But the card that you're asking about is whether you should get Son. And honestly, I think Son would be a better player. I think Son's regular card would be better than... well, actually, I might be pushing it too much by saying that Son's regular card would be better than Aubameyang, but I guess it's situational, right? Because the thing about Son is that his first inform is actually a striker card. So because it's a striker card that has the 4-star weak foot, the 4-star weak foot, or the 5-star weak foot and the 4-star skill moves, and have 80 agility with 78 balance, which isn't terrible considering he's 6 foot, right? So his dribbling will be decent, but not that great. I think he'll be a better card than Aubameyang 100%. He doesn't really have too much strength, but in game he has physical stature. Like he is a pretty big guy, or he's a reasonably not a big guy, but he has a semi decent physical stature in game. So that's the only reason why he'd be very good. Foothead doesn't upgrade or update the composure, so I'm actually gonna check out the composure for Heung-min Son's first inform, which is a striker card. So his composure on that card is 79. So 79 composure is not that great, but if you think about Martial has similar composure with similar agility and balance. The difference between the two cards, which is a big difference, is the high work rates against the medium-low work rates, right? But Son's card would play very good in game. He would be an ideal player to use rather than using Aubameyang, in my opinion. But that's going to be pretty much it, guys. Again, be sure to let me know how you guys like the format of these videos. Would you guys prefer for me to talk over the gameplay or to answer questions from the chat? Whichever one you guys would like, be sure to let me know down below. If you guys did enjoy the video, please drop a thumbs up on it. It does support the channel a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.